Okay. All right. Hey, welcome to the shop. Again, I don't do a lot of videos, mainly because I don't have the equipment for these videos, good cameras, tripods, setting up the video. I'm not interested in really any of that shit. I'm interested in doing stuff, and that's why my videos are sporadic. But if you look at my compadres that I've listed as my subscribers, these are the guys that take good videos and show you the whole process of doing stuff and how they did this and what we're doing here. And it's great. That's where I'm learning from. So anyway, today's subject is on repurposing. What I like to call repurposing. Some people would call it recycling. I call it repurposing. For example, old rebar that I find laying around on the job. Make a nice little leaf-shaped incense burner. It's kind of cool, really. I can't reach you, but it's pretty neat. Whole bunch of these little leaf-shaped keychain, key keepers, whatever. They're kind of fun to hammer out, and you could hammer out a mess of them in a short amount of time. Out of an old file, we have a nice herb chopper. I made a few of these today, sharper than hell, and really kind of a fun project. I bought a bunch of old files at some garage sale or something. So my thanks to my friend Chandler Dickinson, who has Old School Forge Project on YouTube, and these were his ideas, and I'm just kind of mimicking. But it's a lot of fun. So one of my own ideas was to repurpose this guy. This is a unloaded, of course, Ivor Johnson black powder 12 gauge shotgun. I don't know where I picked this up, but I have it. It's a double barrel 12 gauge, and it's been sitting around, and it's beat. It's kind of shot. It's a good wall hanging, I guess. As you can see, I cut some of the barrels off, but we'll get to that. It's got 4 notches in the stock. You know what? I got to show this to you. I don't know how they got there or why they're there. Let me just hopefully you could see these. Yeah, see them right there? See them? Right there, yeah. 4 notches in the stock. I know there's only 3 showing up, but there's 4 there. I'm wondering what they were for. I didn't put them there. I bought this gun from some old lady who I bought a whole bunch of guns from. And this was laying around, and she said it was her grandfather's. This gun probably dates back to the 1850s. It is what they call Damascus steel, which isn't really Damascus, but these barrels are just twisted metal, kind of forge welded on top of themselves. So I got an idea. I was reading up on some of the ancient Japanese swordsmiths who exclusively burned charcoal, my coal burning friends. And they made a blade that they wanted to have a sharp edge. So let's say the blade came down in a triangle like this, okay? And down at the bottom here was this really sharp edge that would keep an edge, hold an edge, and be tough and hard, but yet the skin, if you will, of the katana blade was made out of a low carbon, flexible type steel. Now the idea was when the warriors were, slashing shit or whatever, that the blade wouldn't be brittle. Okay, as we all know who work metal, Um, the harder you get, you can also get brittle. Brittle means it doesn't take much in the way of shock. Now, I'm not going to make a katana sword, but I want to make a knife. And I want to make a knife using that same principle of that low carbon steel skin, if you will, with a core of high carbon steel. And as you grind the blade shape, which is basically a V like this, right? We're going to, at the very bottom of it where the bevel is, we're going to grind away the skin, so to speak, and have that edge, but still have that, I won't say flexible, but more shock absorbent spine. And it probably be a pretty nice pattern. The old swordsmiths used to fold billets on top of billets on top of billets on top of billets and hammer these things out until they were 80 years old or whatever. And, so these things had, maybe 20,000 layers of different steels inside of them. That's a true Damascus steel. This shotgun here isn't a true Damascus. When they made shotguns like this, what they did is they took almost like a steel rope, if you will, and they wound it around a mandrel. And when it compressed inside the barrel forge and it forge welded, this is what you got. And you could, I won't be able to show it to you here, but this has like a almost ladder type of pattern to it inside. And I figured maybe I could use that and couple it with something else. And that's a reason why you can't shoot smokeless high pressure powders out of these guns, because they'll blow up at the breech here. They'll just split where that forge weld is along these lines. So anyway, I have this shotgun and I cut some barrels off of it. I cut, about 8 inches of barrel or so. And I picked up a piece of 1095 blade steel. This is good knife steel here. This is a 1/2 inch diameter. And my idea was to insert this in here like so in the barrel and forge weld it together and make a blade with this as the skin, so to speak, and this as the core, so to speak. When I cut this barrel off, the only thing I thought of was there's really not a lot of clearance here to get any flux down to forge weld these two pieces of metal together. This being 4130, I looked it up. This is an Ivor Johnson shotgun made in about 1850, 1868 or something like that. And it's 4130 steel. It's a very low carbon steel. You wouldn't know that when you're grinding it because sparks fly all over the place, but it's a low carbon steel, and it would take an edge, but it wouldn't hold an edge. So what I want to do is incorporate this as the outer skin, if you will, and use my 1095 core as the spine, or guts of my blade. I didn't want to do it that way, so what I did is I split just a little bit of the barrel, as you can see here. I just kind of cut it away. Why? I can insert my high carbon steel rod, maybe give a tack weld right here or something to hold it in place. And now I'd be able to copiously apply flux, you see. And I use sodium tetracarbonate, is it? Tetracarbonate, which is 20-multene borax, is the flux that we use to forge weld. Now, open like this, I should be able to get enough flux both inside this channel here and then on this rod put it together, put it together, and then be able to forge weld it. And even if I need to go for another heat, I could. There's enough room here. It's about 32nd or a 16th of an inch that I can get the flux both on top of and into. Remember, this flux melts to a liquid, and it will go around, and I'll be able to hammer this out thusly and hopefully forge weld these two metals together. And that would give me both a pretty neat looking outside of a blade, you know, the external surface, as well as give me that katana type high carbon core with a lower carbon outside. Now, the only downside of this whole thing is I wish this sucker was a 10 gauge, because I could only do a 1/2 inch rod inside the 12 gauge bore, if you will. And I figure when this is all hammered out nice and flat into a knife billet that's suitable for grinding, I'll probably only get about maybe 1.5 inches wide at its widest part, and still have 1/8 of an inch or so to be able to make a decent blade with. So the big chef's knife is out of the question, but I think I could do like a boning knife or a chef-shaped knife just on a smaller scale. And it's going to be an experiment. It's going to be my next forge experiment. I got to go to Walmart and get some 20 butene borax, which has been around since like 1910. And the box hasn't changed. It's the same fucking box that they used in 1910. Anyway, so that's what we're going to do. I think I'm going to get this piece in here. I want to cut it. I'm going to tack weld it in here, and maybe weld a piece of rebar or something like that on the end of it, so I got a good handle, because this thing is going to take some immense heat. But my coal forge is quite capable of immense heat. I melted a fucking file today, and I can't find the piece that I melted, but when I was messing around with this chopper here, I had the very end of the file, maybe about 1 inch or so, and I had flicked that on into the fire, and I forgot all about it, and it melted. It melted into a little steel ball that I got somewhere out there. So that fire gets hot, and forge welding, definitely within my realm of possibility. And in keeping of the purpose of recycling and repurposing, if we will, I'm going to use this here walnut gun stock, which has about 900 million coats of lacquer, shellac or something on it. But I'm going to use this gun stock, or maybe this, depending on the size of the knife, for the handles, the scales of the handle of the knife. The knife is going to be a one-piece blade, and this walnut is going to become the scales for it. So that's a totally repurposed shotgun. And if this works out, then I may do something like, I got this double barrel here. I might be able to wrap both of these barrels around even a larger piece, or a piece of flat stock, maybe 1/4 of an inch flat stock, to make a larger chef's knife, is what my original intent was. But I don't think this 1/2 inch diameter is going to do that. So anyway, I'm not going to cut the guy's notches off. Yeah, there are 4 notches here. You can only see 3. I don't know. Were they deer he shot? Were they, you know, I don't know. How many wives did this guy have? But anyway, so that's that. So that would be our next project. So stay tuned for that. It'll be my next video, as my friend Abe says. And it should be interesting to see how this comes out. It's going to be a lot of pounding. But my idea is, this is about 10 inches long, 8 inches long. Yeah, about 10 inches long. Is to flatten this down and forge weld these two metals together and get myself a rectangle that I can put a knife outline on and then grind it. I don't even have my knife grinder yet, but that's coming. You know, everything with me is coming. We've come a long way here, so we're moving along. So anyway, that's that, and we hope to see you soon, and we'll let you know how this weld project turns out. Bye now.